I read an article in Forbes, though, that echoed everything that I have been saying about music and the industry basically swallowing itself. What the article was basically saying was, and I could find it in my phone, but fuck that, I'm freestyling. The article was basically saying that because there's not going to be enough money for some of the sub-tier artists to compensate for what they do, eventually they will drown themselves out and find other fucking career paths. And I just started laughing.
Why is that funny?
Artist Joe Budden.
It's funny, number one, because they're absolutely right.
True.
They are absolutely correct. And it don't seem like enough people care.
Well, no, actually, that's kind of interesting because I think...
Let me find it. I'm going to find it.
No, I disagree with Forbes, and I think I'm much more intelligent than anyone that works at Forbes, of course.
Talk your shit, Rory.
I think that, no, with the internet now, you can go straight to your consumers, so it's easier, I think, to make money than it was before. You don't need a huge outlet to actually give people your music and then buy it. There's regular artists on Apple Music, Spotify, all that shit.
Yeah.
So I think it's possible. I just think maybe the streaming, the way they get paid is tougher because you have to listen to a song 1 million times for them to make $1.
Right.
So I could see in that aspect, but there's ways to give
find
music
it.
to your fans
worry.
without Apple Music and Spotify. I think the internet direct to consumer makes it easier for indie artists to have a career, and they can just go on little show runs and make their money.
So I found it. I found this article. I'm going to try to give you the Cliff Note version of it because it's very long, but it's on Forbes' Twitter page if you want to research yourself. Let's see. There was once a time where mid-level bands with a modest following could make a pretty decent living playing music. Oh, let me burp real quick. They'd put out a record, sell a couple 100,000 copies, and then go on tour to promote it, which would drive additional sales, even as the tour itself was lucky to break even. For the largest acts, the formula was a bona fide money-making bonanza lining up pockets of all involved, including the musicians, managers, blah, 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 right?
Right.
They go on to say, times, however, have changed. Besides a handful of superstars, it is impossible for bands and musicians to generate significant revenue taking this approach. And the reason is simple. Consumers won't pay much for music. Period.
I mean, but
we've been saying that forever.
Oh, yeah, in the past 10 years, they haven't.
Now, that's one of the reasons that I am still one of the lone dinosaurs that purchases music and purchases TV shows and just purchases shit. This goes on to talk about Napster jump-starting the trend back in the 90s, blah, 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 blah. The likes of Pandora and Spotify don't steal content, but they still offer it for free with the support of ads. Others, such as Apple Music and Amazon Music, obviously aren't stealing either and do charge users, but it's a nominal fee. Both models result in most artists getting the shaft, receiving, in most instances, less than a penny per stream. This is ridiculous. That's crazy.
Yeah.
I know that it's information that we already know.
Right.
So when people ask me why I'm screaming and why I'm yelling and why I'm passionate, I'm only always on the side of the artist. I'm always on the side of music. Let me close this because in closing, it says, this is long, let's see, it goes to the end, Bruce Springsteen. The reason, yeah, we don't care about that. Here we go. Some probably question why anyone should care about all of this. After all, the consumer is winning, since the principal fallout has been that accessing music content is cheaper than ever before. Further, large industries have always gone through difficult transformations. What makes the music industry struggles any more noteworthy? ? They close with, the reason is that without meaningful changes to the way musicians get compensated, creativity will suffer immeasurably, and with it, the entire music industry. Consider that the revenue streams created by record sales and concerts once formed an informal infrastructure that continually bred new artists. Without such revenue streams in place, or something similar to replace them, the time will come when musicians will have no practical way to stay afloat, forcing them to give up, and many would-be ones never try it all. It's a great fucking article. It's a great article.
That's interesting.
It's true. So now back to...
I don't know if that's direct streaming, though.
It's true. Yes, it's streaming. Streaming is the industry's new way to bootleg things. We've been talking about this since the inception of this podcast, so I'm not going to beat the listeners down with it anymore.
I think it's a great way to get away from illegally downloading
music. The streamers and the industry executive label people are in cahoots. Let me break this down for the people again who have no idea what any of this means. If Drake can say, here's the kicker in a verse, I can say cahoots. I don't care if you're mad about it, Maul. I don't care.
Whatever, bro.
Listen, if we're all streaming the music and all the labels have deals with the streaming services and artists are contractually obligated to the labels, and the dollar or the penny changes fluctuates monthly with streaming and how we get paid from it, why the fuck would I be in a rush to put another album out?
Yeah,
why? Somebody tell me.
To that point, someone from Atlantic, I won't say their name, was on Twitter talking about streaming, and he had suggested that first week numbers don't matter anymore because streaming is such a slow build for numbers and for income that we're not having the 50% drop off on second week numbers. Now you're having more of, I'm sorry, I'm sick as fuck. Now you're having more of an equal first week and second week with these numbers because it takes so fucking long. You have to listen to the song 10 times for it to count.
Listen to this. Kaiser called me today, and me and Kaiser have been speaking recently. Kaiser is an executive at Atlantic, along with Julie. I know them both because they both were executives at Def Jam. And when the industry played musical chairs, that's where they landed over at Atlantic. So Kaiser and I are pretty cool. He's known me since I was 20 years old. And I'm on the phone saying to him, nigga, y'all at Atlantic, what the fuck are y'all doing? Y'all, what's happening over there? Y'all drop the ball a lot over there. Kaiser says, like who? I said, well, I don't need to get into all the people I said. But I then said, y'all better not fuck Uzi up. And know what he said? How could we fuck Uzi up? I said, where's an album? He said he's doing 50 million streams a week. Yeah. Why do I need to put an album out? And then I was quiet.
He's got a point.
And then I was quiet.
Well,
I don't know why.
You also would need that, because that single is still growing. It's huge now, but it's still growing the way, you know, how bad
I like Uzi. I like Uzi a lot.
Yeah.
No, it's a phenomenal.
I like him a lot. I do.
But I wouldn't put the album out yet.
Is the album... All right, so here's the question. Is the album dead?
No, it's dead.
Is the album dying?
No. I think for certain artists like Uzi, and this isn't a discredit to his artistry, but I think artists like that don't need it because they're so single focused and they make such great hit records. But if you look at who's leading the whole charge, you have your Kendricks, your Coles, and your Drakes who live and die by the album. Well, maybe not Drake so much because he has so many hit singles, but the people that are still leading rap still rely on making that album. Cole and Kendrick are not surviving off hits, and they're still leading rap music. So no, I won't say that. That second tier of the younger kids that are making hits, of course, they don't need an album. I don't need a Yachty album.
In 10 years...
Because he makes such great hit singles and can live off the streams and perform off those hit records.
That's the big thing. They're doing a lot of shows off of these big records. They're doing every show. And
where festivals have now taken over tours...
Forbes talked about that too.
At a festival, you don't need a whole set. You're up there for 20 to 30 minutes. You could just rock through a few singles through there. You don't need a whole show.
The Forbes
and
article...
you're making just as much money.
If not more.
Yeah.
The Forbes article, when it spoke about cheapening music, spoke to the festivals and how popular they are, not because of the music necessarily, but because of the experience.
Yeah. It's all about the experience. Like Coachella, like I was saying, people just go there they don't know what the fuck is going on. They just want to have dirty feet and eat pizza. And
Yo, Maul hates Coachella so much.
I do.
I'm with him.
I hate it.